Could the Lions be drafting this offensive lineman's replacement?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It is another edition and another week of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today is Monday, April 22nd, into Tuesday, April 23rd. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thank you to our everydayers who are out there who watch the show each and every day on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel or listen wherever you get your podcast. That includes a couple of guys I met today, Alex and John Nikolai. Alex, huge Lions fan. His dad, John, big Lions fan. So the Nikolai family, shout out to you guys as well. Thanks for making us your first listen and being everydayers with us. Locked On Lions here on Draft Week, folks, is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. You can follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page. And of course, thank you for watching and subscribing. Those of you that subscribe, hit that subscribe button for free on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Coming up on the show, the Taylor Decker predicament is something very, very interesting that I don't think is getting enough play around here. And yes, it could be that Taylor Decker signs an extension and spends his entire career in Detroit, which is what he wants. But is that what Brad Holmes wants? And could Brad Holmes be drafting his replacement coming up Thursday night or on Friday? It's possible. We will get into that coming up today. It's our last installment of Mock Draft Monday. That's right. No more mock drafts. Maybe we'll do one tomorrow. Maybe we'll do one Wednesday. By the way, Jim Nagy, Senior Bowl, knows the college game and the scouting game as good as anybody. Jim Nagy will join us Wednesday on the show. We love Jim. Jim's squeezing us in. He's so busy this week. We'll get Jim on the show coming up on Wednesday and some other possible special guests this week that I'm working on. But we'll do our mock draft Monday today. What does Vegas say about what could be there for the Lions at 29 and what they might do? We will talk about that as well. And also, what did I put down? Oh, depth pieces. Yes. I want to explain how this draft is different than the previous three drafts that Brad Holmes was looking at. All of that today here on a Monday edition of a Locked On Lions. And we're so excited. The draft is here. Parties have already started. Events have already started happening downtown in Detroit. The stage is set up right there behind the Greektown parking garage and then overlooking Campus Martius and all that. It is going to be a phenomenal event. So hopefully it's not too cold. Hopefully the rain and snow, you never know in this town, hold off, and that we have a great draft week. And the Lions do well in the draft as they are picking 29th, of course, in the first round, unless they trade back. And I said this last week, and I'll reiterate this again. I think there's a good chance Brad Holmes angers some fans that are going to make the trek downtown and be down there at midnight waiting for that Lions pick. Who's going to walk across stage? They're going to announce the name. It's going to be great. And all of a sudden, the Raiders are on the clock, or the Steelers are on the clock, or somebody moves up to get a quarterback in the late first round, and the Lions are adding picks and not making a pick on that first night. That could get a little crazy. Certainly. I think there's a good chance that could happen because, again, you've got to pay a lot of your own guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Aleem McNeil, maybe Taylor Decker. Guys' contracts are coming up. You want to save yourself that fifth year and that first round money, maybe accumulate some second and third rounders, which is where Brad Holmes has done a lot of eating in this draft so far. It is a possibility. The Lions are having their offseason workouts, their voluntary workouts right now down at 222 Rodwood Drive there in Allen Park. And Taylor Decker is there. And Decker told the media last week, the most senior Lion, the offensive captain, the left tackle, now in his 30s, has been around for 11 years here. Taylor Decker admitted and told the media last week that he had ankle and foot surgery and that he's been playing with a bone issue in his foot for like 10 years, 11 years, since his days at Ohio State. And this is the best he's ever felt in his career. Had to have the surgery, Likely won't be ready until training camp, but he's good to go. And the Lions left tackle is looking forward to another season in the Honolulu blue and silver uniforms. I think the biggest question that's coming up, though, is will Taylor Decker be re-signed? We know this. The Lions must keep Amon-Ra St. Brown. They must keep Jared Goff. Aleem McNeil, you want to keep. All right. And other guys are going to start coming up. You got to re-up with Sewell. You got to re-up with Hutch. The Lions have young players that they want to keep around for a long time. Ife Melifonwu all of a sudden is coming into his own. A guy like Kirby Joseph. There's a lot of young players whose contracts will be up here in the next few years. What about Taylor Decker, though? Now, we saw this past year, Graham Glasgow had a really good season, and the Lions rewarded him by keeping him around, and he'll swing over, probably play left guard this year with Kevin Zeitler on a one-year deal at right guard. And as the Lions approach the draft and who's high on their board and what they're looking to do, what's something Brad Holmes always values? It's offensive line. He drafted Penei Sewell. He re-signed Decker. He re-signed Ragnow. He brought back Graham Glasgow. He signed Kevin Zeitler this year. He's always looking for depth along the offensive line. And Brad Holmes knows that that's where you win football games. All right. And remember how excited he got that first year when he drafted Penei Sewell, slamming his fist and his hand down on the table. Just Penei was like his first pay. Not Penei was like he was. Penei Sewell was his first draft pick. And Brad Holmes so far has hit multiple home runs in the first round with the likes of Sewell and Hutchinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jack Campbell, not a home run yet, but could be. And now this year, as you look at the draft, one name that I've heard the Lions like, and this is just from sources that I've been told, is Graham Barton. And there's going to be a lot of tackles taken way ahead of where the Lions pick at number 29. Now, could Brad Holmes move up to get the guy he wants? Sure, he could. But the interior offensive lineman from Duke, Graham Barton, is a guy that checks all the boxes for the Lions. Plays hard every snap. He's nasty. Started off as a tackle, moved inside, can play center, can play guard, can play tackle. Versatile, right? Graham Glasgow, center, guard, versatile. Decker needs to move to the Sewell needs to move to the left side while Decker was injured, then moves back to the right side. Versatile. Frank Ragnow, when he came to the league, I think he played some guard. Did he not? Guys that are versatile. Maulers. And so Taylor Decker said last week he wants to finish his career in Detroit. They've had some contract talks, his agent and the team. They've been preliminary. Nothing serious yet, but he thinks they'll get something done. He wants to remain in Detroit and play his entire career here. See this thing through. What if the Lions only want to give Taylor Decker a 1-year extension or a 2-year extension? Would he take that? What if the Lions feel like there's a player, I'll just use the example of Graham Barton, that we think we could plug in at right tackle next season, move Sewell over to the left side, and have an even better offensive line? Now, I wouldn't mess with Sewell on the right side. I would leave him exactly where he is because right now, according to some metrics, he's the best right tackle in the game. But Brad Holmes looks big picture. Brad Holmes looks at depth along the offensive line. What if somebody gets hurt? Last year, Vaitai got hurt early. Glasgow moved in, never gave up his spot. Right now, the Lions have Colby Sorsdahl. They've got Owashika, guys like that. But not a ton of depth along the offensive line. Graham Barton, RAS score through the roof. Lions love that. Just checks the boxes. Keep an eye on this. I'm not telling you I think it's going to happen. I just have heard Lions are high on this player and probably won't be there at 29, but what if he slipped to 29 somehow? Remember when Graham Barton, when the mocks first started coming out, he was kind of in the second round. He's moved way up. He's had great workouts, a great combine, and now, and I'll tell you about the mock draft we'll do in a second from the Draft Network. They've got him going 21st. What if Brad Holmes sees if he could get even better at left tackle. Would he really jettison and not pick up and not bring back Taylor Decker? Brad Holmes is all about winning. Taylor Decker's a really good football player. Never been a Pro Bowler, though. Always a solid left tackle. What if Brad wants two dominant bookend tackles instead of one dominant one and one really good one or one solid one, which Taylor Decker is? It is a business, but Decker wants to stay here long term. The question is, will that happen? We will find out, won't we? We're going to find out rather quickly here in the next couple of days. All right, coming up next, it is Mock Draft Monday. We'll hit one of those. We'll do that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. But first, folks, we got to tell you about our friends at FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. Heck, you can bet on where guys are going in the draft coming up on Thursday night. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and of course, proud sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. And hey, what about our friends at Monopoly Go? I've been telling you about this. My wife sits in bed on her phone and plays this Monopoly Go all day and night. She loves it. Well, she's not in bed all day, but you know what I mean. At night, she's on there playing. What are you playing? Monopoly Go. She absolutely loves it. All right. And we've all been there. Either as a player or a fan, it's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game, Monopoly Go, lets you do that. They let you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It is the Monopoly you love, but on your phone, anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much more to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, make your friends bankrupt, smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball, so much more. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. Get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go. Now free on the App Store or on Google Play. All right, back here on Locked On Lions, it is a Mock Draft Monday. We're chasing down some good guests for the rest of the week. And of course, Wednesday, Jim Nagy, our very good friend, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Guy has seen all of these players. I've seen him up front, up close and personal too at the Senior Bowl. Jim is going to join us coming up Wednesday right here on Locked On Lions. Thursday night, don't forget, we'll have a post-draft show likely around midnight or whenever the first round's done. The Lions pick. If they don't pick, we're going to have an entire show for you Thursday night, a fresh episode. And then Friday, same thing, late night after the second and third round. So don't miss out. Tell your friends about us right here on Locked On Lions. We absolutely love doing this each and every day for you and have a great time doing it. All right, I go to the draftnetwork.com today and I see their latest mock draft Monday, then they go by what the betting odds say. Their friends at FanDuel say. So in the betting props based on put money down and everything else, what does it look like from the Vegas perspective? A mock draft. All right. Number 1, Bears, no surprise. Caleb Williams, that's going to happen. Number 2, even though Jaden Daniels is apparently uncomfortable with the Commanders and how they treated him last week in the workout, he's the betting favorite to go number 2, according to FanDuel. He's at minus 130. Number 3, Drake May to New England. They need a quarterback, QB from North Carolina. Then it's Marvin Harrison, 4 to Arizona. Malik Neighbors, 5 to the Chargers. And then J.J. McCarthy would be drafted number 6 by Mikey V's New York Football Giants. As we roam the board here, we get down to, and I mentioned before, Graham Barton, the Lions like him, out of Duke, goes 21 in this mock draft to Miami. 21, can you do something for me? Then, in this mock draft, Houston trades with the Vikings, and Minnesota takes Michael Penix at 23. That's actually the Vikings' second first-round pick. That trade was already made. The Lions at 29. The Draft Network's Vegas odds mock draft select Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama, whom I selected for the Lions in the Locked On NFL mock draft. They write, while an edge could be in play here, quote, the consensus among sports books is that cornerback is the most likely selection. It's plus 130 at FanDuel. Kool-Aid McKinstry is the last first-round corner still available, and his current draft position over-under at circa, shout out Derek Stevens, Detroit's own, is 28.5. Now, their value play at plus 300, if you're an odds person, is Darius Robinson from Missouri. We had Max Chadwick on from Pro Football Focus last week, and he does not think Darius Robinson is a first-round pick. So in this mock draft, Kool-Aid McKinstry at 29 to Detroit. 2 picks before that, Nate Wiggins from Clemson, who I think is a corner that definitely the Lions would be intrigued in, goes 27 to Arizona. So that would be this mock draft at 29, Vegas odds like Kool-Aid McKinstry to Detroit. I like I said, I took him in the mock, my mock last week in the Locked On mock draft. And again, if you've missed that show, go to YouTube. We are part 6 of the Locked On NFL hosts mock draft. It's interesting. The odds makers in Vegas have 2 favorites for Detroit based on betting. One of them is Johnny Newton from Illinois, who I see no way that he would be there at 29. He's the all-everything, I think, top 10 prospect. Interior, he can play the interior of the defensive line. He can play outside, inside. He's amazing. Yet the current over-under for Newton from Illinois is 31.5. What if he slides? Johnny Newton visited the Lions. Johnny Newton is another versatile body that you could put anywhere across the defensive line. But 31.5 over under for Newton means there's a good opportunity that he would be there at 29. And then again, Kool-Aid McKinstry's over under line is 29.5. And many, including me, have had him mocked to Detroit. McKinstry, some people feel, is the best corner on the board, but a little bit of foot injury last year. Didn't do a lot of postseason testing due to that foot injury. And if he slides now down to 29, would the Lions take Kool-Aid? Again, both Newton and McKinstry were top 30 visits and did come down to Allen Park to visit the Lions. I was listening to Valenti and Rico today on the ticket, and they were talking about who is the guy you really want? Who have you fallen in love with that you hope is there at 29 for the Lions? And my guy for that is Cooper DeJean, who, of course, is the fine cornerback and kind of a do-everything, play safety, can play corner at Iowa. Cooper DeJean in this mock draft goes 17th to Jacksonville. That's according to the odds, again, at the Draft Network. Here's my thing with DeJean, too, and why I would love him for the Lions. I saw an interview the other day on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. He was in studio at the very good morning show there, station that I fill in at from time to time, Ken Carman and Anthony Lima. And they had a Coach Stefanski in studio. And they asked him about the new kickoff rule. And he said, we've been working on this. And I've heard other teams do this as well. They've really been hammering away at the tape, watching the XFL film of this new kickoff rule where the kicking team's gonna have their players lined up at like the 35-yard line. The receiving team's gonna have their players at the 30-yard line, and then no one can move until the ball is caught by the return men. And there's gonna be 2 return men, one on the right, one on the left, to field these kicks. And it made me think about, what if the Lions were able to get Cooper DeJean, who's again, another Raz score guy the Lions like, can play corner, can move him around, athletic, fast, gritty. What if you have DeJean on the right and Jamison Williams on the left returning kicks? Talk about putting the fear of God into the opposing team. He can run. And putting those two guys back there together, I think would be insane. I cannot wait for the new kickoff rule this year. I'm so excited because this last few years of just booting the ball out of the end zone was boring. And now we're going to have some action here. But they're trying to keep it safe with those players lining up and not having that full head start. But if you think about it, if DeJean gets that kickoff return or JMO, and they get that through that first wave, it's gone. You're gone. They're gone. It's a touchdown. So I'm excited to see that. I think DeJean would be the guy that I want for the Lions, but we'll have to see. I don't think you can go wrong with anything at 29. And I'm going to explain how they're adding depth and not starters in this draft. I want to get into that coming up next, right here on a Monday edition of Locked On Lions. And hey, folks, are you looking for tickets to that favorite sporting event is yours? What about Tiger tickets? You want to go down to Comerica Park and see your local nine? Well, GameTime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer you get to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, which are awesome, and their lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, all right? Seriously, I've used GameTime a couple of times lately, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I love the view from your seat. You can scroll right, scroll left. You see where you're at, and it's easy. It's hassle-free. A couple of taps, and you're in. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, lowest price guarantee, all right? Event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. GameTime has all of that for you to offer. And GameTime ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Final thing here on a Monday, a busy week here on Locked On Lions. Detroit Lions will be on the clock late night Thursday night at pick number 29, unless they move out of it. Here's what's interesting. Let's take a look at the Lions depth chart today. And it's like, do the Lions need, let's just talk about needs. People have said they needed an edge rusher. They need another corner. They need another wide receiver. They could use another offensive lineman. They need a safety, a backup safety. But in years past, when Brad Holmes was picking, of course, Brad Holmes was picking at 2 and at 7, and last year was 12 and 18. Now he's at 29. Do the Lions need a quarterback? No. Do the Lions need a running back? No. Do the Lions need a starting wide receiver? No. Lions need a tight end? No. Lions need any starters along the offensive line? No. Lions need any starters on the defensive line? No. They're going to start Marcus Davenport. They signed him for a reason. Aiden Hutchinson, Pascal, Kaminsky, Reeder, McNeil. What about linebackers? Lions are loaded at linebacker. Lions need another corner. Not 100% need, because they've got Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, Brian Branch. Lions need a starting safety? No, they got Melifanu and Joseph. For the first time since Brad Holmes has been drafting, this is year 4 of Bradley's regime here, he's not in need of a starter per se. Now, again, he could say, I'm not comfortable with Davenport because he's always hurt, and I do need an edge. All right, that's possible. Decker said he's healthy with his foot and his ankle. There are questions about the roster and the depth. But as far as drafting this year, the Lions knew when they took Jahmyr Gibbs last year at 12, when they took Brian Branch, when they took Sam Laporta, they got starters right away. Jack Campbell had to earn his starting spot, but three of the first 4 picks last year were immediate starters. When he took Aleem McNeil a few years ago, he started immediately. When he took Aiden Hutchinson, you knew he was starting. Penei Sewell knew he was starting. The Lions now have the luxury at 29 and 61 and 79 or whatever else they have to not have to draft a starter in this draft. They could at 29 take a wide receiver, and that guy could be on the field right away. Now, again, J-Mo needs to be on the field. Khalif Raymond, they love. Amon St. Brown's their best player, arguably. He's got to be on the field. There's only so many bodies you can put out there, right? They brought back Brock Wright. He's going to play. They love putting 2 tight ends on the field. You have 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, 5 offensive linemen, and a quarterback, and no running backs at the time. Or 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. There's only 11 guys on the field. You get my point. This is the first time I can remember that at 29, if it's not a starter, it might be okay because of the depth, because this team made the NFC Championship game. And this could be a first in how many regimes when we're not talking about this. It's incredible. It's a testament to what Sheila Hamp has done and this organization has done with this football team. It's awesome. All right, we're back again tomorrow. Another episode of Locked On Lions. Jim Nagy on Wednesday. Might have a special guest tomorrow. We're working on a few things. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for making us your first listen right here on Locked On Lions, a Monday edition here on Draft Week 2024.